During my 12-year career in games media, I've always said never get personal when it comes to reviewing games. Games are an art form, after all, and all art is art, even that which resembles a muddy fart. I don't believe in putting down on anybody just for doing their job. I know I wouldn't like it if droves of watchers flocked to my latest video just to call it a worthless, pathetic piece of dog shite. Yet, I genuinely think I'd prefer to endure a lifetime of that rather than ever touch the last hope zombie survival zone ever again. Let's be clear, this is not a review, simply for the fact our scale doesn't go so low, and despite my all-caps emails, Slack DMs and screaming Skype calls, we are not taking our scale down to the minuses. Which is a shame, because The Last Hope Zombie Survival Zone is hands down the worst video game I've ever played. The Last Hope Zombie Survival Zone, developed and released by VG Games and West Connection Limited, is a shameless The Last of Us ripoff, through and through. There's no originality, no quality, and no reason to spend a penny on such an awful product. I say product, but it more resembles the byproduct of me and a tub of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I'm lactose intolerant. Use your imagination. The game begins with a series of splash screens and poorly written story exposition. In fairness, the developers didn't invent a Cordyceps virus in place of the Cordyceps virus. Instead, they went with time travel and some government nonsense. The game's playable character, Brian, wakes up in a hospital room, and that's a 28 Days / Walking Dead ripoff reference, before the game tells you to pick up a baseball bat and leave the hospital. But wait, there are zombies in the hospital. I walked over to a zombie, pressed R, and let out a pathetic swing into an equally pathetic zombie. Oddly enough though, I still took damage. Enough so that by the time I was out of the hospital and out into the awful, lifeless but strangely shiny world, I was quite low on health, and my energy bar was empty. With no energy, I couldn't even swing at the gormless Unity Store assets that came shuffling toward me. I needn't have worried though, you can just run around. And run around I did. The game instructed me to find food, but there's no in-game map. There are also no in-game waypoints. There's also no point in playing any further from here to realise you spent your well-earned Nintendo Gold funny money on a sticky sock stain. But in the interest of doing my job, I cracked on. I ran around the open world for 10 minutes trying to figure out what to do. And it's not really an open world. There are invisible barriers that tell you that you're going the wrong way. Classy. I ran around for a bit, mooching around the bins in search of a bit of munch. The bins, by the way, or trash cans, if your healthcare is rubbish, are the largest I've ever seen in a game, and probably real life. They are literally taller than the main character himself. In fact, the proportions are off all over the shop with this one. Doors are huge with handles that a grown man would have to reach above his head to use. Bullet clips are far too big. Hell, even Eva, the Aldi value Ellie, is about as tall and stocky as Brian. Is this game supposed to be a joke? Well, to be fair, it does state that the in-game date is April 1st, 2024. Maybe next year the punchline to this joke of a game will land. I'm not holding my breath, but that's because I'm also asthmatic, just like Eve. No, that's not a mistake. The game itself can't decide whether she's called Eve or Eva. I have my own name for the gormless kid after my short time with her, but as per our content language outlines, which I've already flirted close to the edge of, I can't put that in this video. Just know that she's absolutely useless, and every time the game told me Eva is dead, I cheered up a little. She had it coming. Unlike real Ellie, Eve/Eva is completely useless and shows zero survival instinct. Zombie within 10 feet of her? Well, she cowers into a ball and lets the undead have at her. It wouldn't be so bad if I could actually clear the zombies. But with the limited ammo that quickly runs out and a melee combat system that literally hurts you to use, it's just not possible. In order to cheese a bit of progress and try to make a dent in the game's story, the next beat of which has you go to a pharmacy and get medicine, I simply left her behind, ran to the pharmacy building, and got inside before she died. Again. Miraculously, she appeared next to me with her gravity-defying hair. The next and final part of my experience with this waste of time was leaving the pharmacy and then being told to search the cop car across the street. Alright, no worries. Oh, but there were zombies all about, and I had no ammo, and nowhere near enough energy or health to get into a physical fight with them. And I was also being trailed by a comically useless nitwit teen. But whatever. I already had a feeling this game was crap enough that if I got to the car and initiated the infuriating lock-picking minigame, it would probably just work. And it did. I got to the car, the awful minigame kicked in, and I spent 5 minutes hating life before finally hitting the last pin. And then the game got gangster on me. Damn son, that's cold. I expected the game to kick me back to a previous loading screen. Every entrance and exit is a loading screen, by the way. Or even back to the main menu. But no. Instead, you did. Stayed on the screen while the sound of zombies munching my low texture, low poly body annoyed my ears. And that's when I decided to put the game down before I yeeted the Switch into oncoming traffic. It's my son's Switch after all, and he just wouldn't appreciate me doing such a thing for the bit. So yeah, I spent 99 Nintendo Gold coins on an awful game. As I said at the start of this, I've never set out to be deliberately rude or dismissive of somebody's work, but when such low-effort rip-off drivel is being sold for actual money, I do take offence, and I do give as good as I get. And that is the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching, as always. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful, maybe had a little giggle here and there. If you did enjoy it, go on down below, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and give the bell icon a nudge so that you get notified whenever we've got new stuff for you to watch. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll catch you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.